As we start into week 5, we've made it halfway through the course, we have halfway left to go, and there's quite a bit of reading for this week with Desmond Tutu's No Future Without Forgiveness, and the video clip that I have posted for him is fairly long, so I'll keep this as short as possible, mainly just informative stuff for the week. I have read through all of the social location papers, and you should have gotten back comments from me. If you haven't yet, please let me know, and I'll get those to you. I've also read through and commented on all of your final project proposals. If you have the opportunity to give those a look, begin thinking and working, from this point forward towards finishing your final project. And I can't reiterate this enough. If you have any questions, you get stuck along the way, if you'd like me to read something that you've worked up to see if you're on the right track, please send it my way and I'll give you the feedback that I can in a timely manner. For this week we are moving into South Africa, so we have a little bit of introduction into South Africa with the Jared Diamond video from last week from Guns, Germs and Steel, where you have he's primarily talking about Dutch settlers, voortrekkers, right, who settle in South Africa and make their way up into the subcontinent, and the stuff that flows out of that, but that all begins within South Africa, especially with the Dutch. The Dutch are primarily Protestant Christians, right? As are the British, the Spanish, the Portuguese. Those folks are primarily Italians. They're primarily Catholic Christians. So you have different branches of Christianity bringing their ways, settling the land, and introducing Christianity, not primarily, especially with the Dutch, as missionaries explicitly, but these folks are coming as Protestant Christians, and that's one of the things that they bring along the way. What we get with Desmond Tutu, though, and I assume that most of you are familiar with him, maybe you've had a chance to go and see him speak. He comes to Denver fairly often. Tutu gives us not an explicit account, in the book anyway, of Christianity's role within apartheid and the reconstruction after apartheid falls via the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. But he gives us just this is what this is. He just gives us what happens. He gives us his take on what happens, right? So we, in this class, have to read a bit between the lines to say and to analyze what is it that what is Christianity's role in all of this? It is one of the sort of privileges of our social location to value the separation of church and state. Oops, sorry. I'm balancing my iPad on my lap. To value the separation of church and state, but as a first Dutch and then British colony, South Africa does not have this distinction. That's not bred into the very value fabric of South Africa to have this separation between church and state. So we're not going to be dealing with in this book Christianity over here and then the state over here. It's all going to be meshed together. So think through, as you read through the text, Tutu's location, right? He is a bishop, right? He's the archbishop during the time. And as the archbishop, he's asked to preside over the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, right? And what sorts of things, what sort of Christian themes and broader religious themes are woven into the fabric of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission? How is it that the church, and he gets at this at various points in the beginning, but more specifically near the end, in what sorts of ways did the primarily Dutch Reformed Church play a role in providing a theological justification for apartheid, for the status quo, right? How is it that Christianity fosters, or at least helps maintain, apartheid? And how is it, right, that Christianity is able to also counter apartheid and play a significant role, not only in its collapse and the methods by which some people used for its collapse, but also in its reconstruction, or at least the beginning of a process of healing, because that's all the TRC was. It began a process of national healing that is still up for debate, is still going on today, that still didn't actually solve or heal a lot of wounds, right? But it was a concerted effort to try to start that process. So take all these things with you as you read through and give it your best. And if you are disturbed by any of the sections, because Tutu gets very detailed, he gets a lot of detail about some of the atrocities that happened. Feel free to skip through those, but try to grasp a good working sense for what he does in this book, and then compare and contrast that with the video itself, and we'll see where our discussions take us this week. Thank you.